One of the things I love about dividend stocks is they're one of the closest things to passive income. Now, normally I view dividend investing stocks as passive income because you get paid every quarter or every month, depending on the company. Some being only paying you twice a year. But for the most part, I view it as passive income. Well, that was until I came across an article on Medium talking about passive income. And I thought about dividend investing, and that's why in this video I'm going to share with you how dividend investing, it's not as passive as people think. It's still, it has that passive feel because you buy the company once and it keeps on paying you. So in that nature, it is passive, but it's getting to that point of having the shares in the company that isn't quite so passive. And what I mean by that is it's not like for people who are investing in dividend stocks often or people who have been investing for a while. It's not like you wake up one morning and you say, oh, well, I'm going to buy a stock because it gives a good dividend. What you do instead is you look at fundamentals and you look to see, does this price make sense? Because I could go and buy any stock today and make the dividend income, but does it make sense? And within that question, you kind of start to see that it's not necessarily just passive, because you could see someone on YouTube or anywhere recommending a stock that you should buy, and I may do that soon. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you're interested in me recommending stocks to buy and stuff like that. But you could see someone recommend buy this stock or buy whatever, but that's coming from the past. That's coming from a month ago or a week ago, depending on when that video or whatever piece of content was published and when you're actually consuming it. So does it make sense? I mean, it can make sense to buy. It made a lot of sense to buy, a company like Amazon or Netflix when it was just starting out, because look at this massive return. Does it make as much sense? Well, who knows? Because the thing is, with this video, you could be watching it later, and then things I say now about Amazon and Netflix may not necessarily check out later on. So Amazon and Netflix, they're not offering dividends yet because, eBay recently started offering a dividend. They haven't been doing it for a while. So when it comes to you have to do your research, you have to keep on staying up to date. And that's not necessarily passive, because it takes work to, read different articles and look at fundamentals and stuff like that. So you do a lot of this initial work to figure out, is this a good investment? And then you buy into the stock, and then you start sort of making passive income. But even then, it's not passive income, because you still want to make sure that it's a good investment, because reasons for buying a stock today that makes sense and you buy it and it's a great move, a few months later, that stock may be terrible, because different things have changed in the economy, different things have changed in the sector, different things have changed in the company turnover. There's so many different variables that can happen. So if you view dividend investing as solely passive, you buy once and then you just forget about it, I mean, there is a risk that you see depreciation. There is risk that you stay invested in the company for too long. Now, it is ideal to buy companies that, based on their fundamentals, are going to last for a very long time, if not forever. Probably no company. I mean, who knows of a company that lasts forever? I mean, that's a really, really big ask. But companies that look like they're doing well and they're going to keep doing well in the distant future. So there are ways to make it easier, but at the same time, you're still doing research. You're still figuring out which ones make the most sense. You're still diversifying, because you don't want to just buy one stock. You can do an index fund, which is certainly the closest thing to passive from a dividend standpoint, assuming that you pick an index fund or something like that that pays a dividend. But even then, does it make sense to hold on to the index fund if a recession is coming or something like that? So the big thing here is, when it comes to dividend investing, it's passive when you have the stock and it's sitting there and the stock keeps performing well. Getting to the point where you have the stock, that initial research, and continuing to follow the stock and continue to see if this is an investment that still makes sense for me based on my criteria, based on what I'd like to exit. the exit price, or if you set one of those for yourself. Some people just keep the dividend stocks forever, which is something I prefer to do. But there is research that has to be done to make sure you're making a good investment. There is research you have to do to make sure that the company you have is still a good investment. And there's research you have to do to make sure you're diversifying your portfolio so that if one sector gets hit really bad, you've got other stocks in other sectors that can carry the losses and be able to still bring in those dividend payments. So even when you think about your goals, your personal goals as an investor, so is dividend investing passive? It is certainly close to being passive, but there is a lot of work leading up to the point. And if you are watching this video, then you understand that you have to keep getting more information about dividend investing. That's something I do on my channel a lot, dividend investing. We also talk about business, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. But you know that you need to get the information necessary to make good investing decisions. And that's why it's not necessarily passive to have the dividend stocks. It is certainly more passive than real estate or something like that. But to really say that it is truly passive, there is still work that has to be done for you to keep getting the return you're expecting and to build up on that return as well. So signing off from this video, what I want you guys to do, dream big, achieve greatness, and unlock your potential today.